there, and welcome back to Scrap with Penny, where paper meets story. I am working on a stash busting Saturday series for August, and this layout is going to be part of that process. I did share some tips and tricks on behind the scenes page planning, and I'll link that video in the description, because if you watch that video, you'll see where I went through how I select my photos, how I select my sketch, and then selecting the paper collection. So I thought that would be kind of fun to share some info. What I'm starting with today is we're going to work on this January 2024 sketch. I've got 3 photos. I printed both of my squares the same size, which is 3 3/4. So they'll be square, and that's what the sketch shows, is 1 3 3/4 photo, square photo. And then this is my landscape photo, which is slightly larger than a square. It's kind of a choppy rectangle. And this is a float trip. This is my son and his wife, my daughter-in-law, and my niece and her husband. And I thought it would be fun. In 2022, I think, they went on a weekend float trip, and I got to watch the grand dogs. They have 2 Frenchies also. So let's set these photos to the side. We can look at the sketch a little bit. I've got one 12 by 12 background. Also in the page maps math video, I walk you through how, based on using some real measurements and dividing by into 12 and extrapolating, you can get a multiplier. So this rectangular piece right here is, I think, a little bit less than 8 and about 10.5. And then this is a little bit less than 3, and I think it's 2 7/8 by 11 3/8. And then I didn't measure this little piece right here. I'm going to adapt it, because like my photo is bigger, so this might need to be bigger. And I selected, so that's 1 2 3 4 pieces of paper. And I selected this summer party. I have worked with it just a little, and I know that because I've got this scrap bag. Once I cut into pattern paper, I put the cut pieces into an 8.5 by 11 office supply page protector or page sleeve, and it's a great way to keep all of the little loose bits, in my opinion. Colorful, bright. This shows journaling there. That could be a block or journal strips. I like that summer. Swimsuits. I'm not going to go through all of this because I did that in the planning video. I'm going to set this to the side, and this is what I've pulled to actually consider for the page. And I've got more here than I need. I do that on purpose because it's hard for me to decide completely ahead of time. And also, honestly, it's not as much fun. I like to make my decisions organically and let the page kind of develop as I go. But I talked about this could be cut and then cut here, 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 and it could be a fun title. I'm kind of on this kick of, if I don't use it now, when will I? So that's a real good candidate for that. I do have the 6x6 paper pad, and I'm going to come back to this. I'm going to set that right there. Someone help me remember to come back to this. And then I love this. I can't remember if I pulled this in the page planning video or not, but I do like it. So then we've got the swimsuits, we've got the clouds, and we've got the navy and white stripe. And I know, and then the orange. And I know in the prep video I disregarded the navy stripe, but as it got time to kind of, consider this, what I'm thinking about doing is using the navy stripe as a background to the clouds. I would gut both of those, and so this is like my 12 by 12 background, but I love an inset. And then I would use this little swimsuit as my like 10.5 by 8 piece of paper. And so then I would need to have a strip. And what I was thinking about for the strip was cutting a piece of white cardstock and finding some paper, water looking color that would contrast enough with the sky. Now, mind you, this is the river in Texas, and it's mossy and it's pretty green. But I thought it would be cute if I could have some waves coming down here where this strip is. And then I was thinking for the little piece that butts out behind the photo, I was thinking about using the smaller 6x6 version of the dot, and you can see the scale would be so much better. And that's why if I like a collection, I'm almost always going to go ahead and, you know, drop the, well, it used to be $4.99 and now I don't even know what it is. It's not that. But just, you know, to stretch your stash and get more out of it. And so if we went that route, then I would have, I just thought this swimsuit paper was really cute. Anyway, I thought 2 young girls, that's a good time to use little cute swimsuits, right? And so if I go like this, that's kind of what I'm thinking on my page. So I think the first step is to go ahead and gut this. This is such a dark navy that I think it ties into all the black that you're seeing. I think I just want a quarter showing back here. Have you ever done a float trip? I floated once with my husband and the boys and my sister and her family. Actually, her family. And that was enough for me. One and done. So anyway, okay, I'm gonna stop talking and get to working. So I went ahead and trimmed this down to an 11.5 square, and that's going to give me a 1/4 inch on each side. So here's the rough idea. Just eyeballing it. Okay, so here's my sketch. I went ahead and cut this. So this is 7 7/8 by 10 1/4, and I had estimated that it comes in 1.25, which is right there. So we've got that. Then we have this that's going to come out. Let me trim my photos real quick. It's kind of always fun to me once you get your paper trimmed and your pictures trimmed, how a page starts pulling together, and I think this is pretty cute. So remember, I'm going to do some kind of strip here that will run almost the whole top to bottom on the page, and that's where I'm thinking the water could go. Just need to see if I should make mine wider, since my photo up here is wider. But aren't the little swimsuits just adorable? I like it, and it's not too much. They don't overpower. I like the navy and white stripe kind of grounding it. When 2 Peas in a Bucket was still in business, they had all of those classes, and May Flom taught a summer camp one year. Maybe I went and looked on my folder in my computer for my online classes, and I was wrong. It wasn't 2 Ps, it was big picture classes, and it was 2010, and it was called Use Your Stash. So just to give May credit, she taught us in that class to always have some kind of neutral or dark grounding color. And so another reason for me to consider bringing in this navy and white is that it gives you a grounding for all of these colors. Okay, so now what I need to do, I think what I'm going to do is cut a piece of white cardstock, and I'm going to go searching for some paper that I can use for these waves, because I think it would be perfect. I had said I cut this to 11.5, which is a 1/4 margin around each edge, and I've shared many times I have this Misty that I bought for stamping on scrapbook pages when all she had was the little bitty one and the big one. And when I started making cards in 2010, I decided not 2010, 2020. Okay, so I decided I could use these corners to mat my scrapbook paper and get an even margin. And you can lay it down and then you're all set. If I bump this all the way up to the top of the cloud paper and come in and measure down here, then that gives me 10/8 of a margin, which means half of that would be 5/8. So I grab my 5/8 We're going to work at the bottom where I can see it better. Then I grabbed my 5/8 acrylic corner, and I decided that even though the sketch shows it over this way, I'm going to go for a consistent margin. So I shared in a video where if you don't have a MISTI, you can either use low tack tape, or if you have a magnetic surface like a Wendy Vecchi art station, you can go that route. You don't have to have the 12-inch MISTI to use the acrylic corners. You just need to have the ability to get your paper that you're taping onto to be stationary. And low tack tape is a great way, and you can reuse those strips of tape. Okay, so we're just going to go right here like this. And then you can come up and measure it. Looks good. You can get your T-square out. That looks good. Now I need to decide on my strip. I have my white strip cut that I'm going to use to back with the waves. I don't think I talked about where I got this dye. This dye was from Convention, and it was for sale by Creek Bank Creations water border dye. And I just thought it would be a cute and easy way to get some consistent waves without having to drag out the cameo. Okay, so back to this. I ended up shortening this because I wanted it to start and end on the clouds. And so I'm over to this point of the sketch, and in studying the sketch, the backer paper ends at kind of the halfway mark of this photo. I'm still thinking I'm going to do this title, which I may have to start over here, or just go dive in, make a splash, cool off, or just two of the phrases. But I'm going to go over there. So I think what I want is for this paper to come down below this, and I'm okay with it going all the way over here. So let me trim this up. So it's 3 3/4 by 6. For this, I pulled the 6x6 sheets of this ombre, sky, sand, water. I don't have to put it behind where the pictures are going to be. Okay, so I'm gonna get to cutting this with my little water dye. I have been busy. I've got a bunch of little wave strips cut, and I think it's going to be really cute. So I need to adhere them and make sure I've got enough cut, and I'll start at the bottom with this flat edge and work my way up the top. But what I'm thinking is that I think I should get both of the water pictures onto the waves. So of course it sure brings out the green in that. So I think I'm going to end up going that route. And on my title, I cut that strip off of this sheet. I don't think their collections have these anymore, do they? These border strip pages. So many things have changed over the years. And I thought I only could go with 3 because I want to see the little swimsuits, and I want to see these swimsuits. And so I thought one needed to be eliminated, and this one seemed the most redundant. I mean, obviously it's summer. When I journal and I put the date in, it's going to indicate that it's summer. So I thought dive in, make a splash, cool off works. The literalist in me is kind of struggling with dive in because you can't dive into these rivers. So I don't know. I don't think that is any good. And I like there being 3 for the stacking element. So this is, my world where we like to overanalyze everything. So I think what I need to do now is tape this down. Here's my very rough job of covering it. Once I get my pictures on top of it, I'll go in with some liquid glue and get it all secure. So I think it's going to go like that, and this one is going to go like this. Well, that's kind of cute to tuck them into the water. So that's kind of the look. I think it's going to add a nice little touch. Here this is all trimmed up. This ended up being 4 1/4 wide, and I did that because this was 4 inches wide, and I wanted there to be
something showing on either side of it. And I did take a little bit off the bottom because my waves ended up a little taller. And I think that's it. So I'm gonna do a little pencil mark there. I'm gonna go ahead and tape this piece down.
I have the orange paper down, and these two pictures are taped down. I did tuck it under there. I just think that's really so cute. And I wanted to show another way that I use my acrylic corners is for spacing between photo. This is 3/16. A lot of times I'll use 1/8, but I wanted a little more space between this to see a little bit more of the wave that I went to the trouble to get right there. And so I just put this here, and then I just come right up on it, and it's going to be straight. You get a little pop of that orange. So I just had this idea to cover the dead space in this photo. When you're floating the river, you pass under bridges, and so that is the support for a bridge. And I like this idea because I wasn't crazy about, well, they're not trusses, but seeing that structural element. So I think if I can make this work, I think it works visually. And then on my sketch, it calls for the journaling, down here, but I could do a couple of journal strips here. And in looking at the sticker sheet, the sun is really cute, so I could put the sun up here. And so I think I'm going to go ahead and tape that down, and I'm going to write my journaling, and I'm going to try and go where they're wider so they stay on the orange. My journaling is printed. I use the Hero Arts sentiment strips die and the Google Doc from Coley Bean, and I'll link the tutorial in the video description. So I've tentatively laid them out here, but I want to kind of stay in the orange. And I pulled the sun, and I've got some foam on it, and I think that's cute. Looking at the sticker sheet, I like the idea of flip-flops, but I don't like this pair. So I might grab more of a solid pair. And I like the sunglasses. It'd be nice if there was some sunscreen. So I think what I'll do is look at my other sticker sheets that I pulled and see if I can get some little icons. The Fun Starts Here is cute, and that might be a good element for right there. And I don't see a lot else on here. I don't need anything big. I just want maybe something to put up here and something to go down here to get some loose triangle. I have some things taped down, and before I go too much further, I thought I would hop back on. I decided on my journaling strips to start at the top and work down because I could move this picture up or down if I needed. And I just wanted to show you, I just eyeball these when I put them on, and to decide where they go, I never remember to do it before I take the backer off, so I just turn it over. So I want this one centered here. I like all of my edges to be varied, and I like a tight interior margin. That's good enough, yeah. And so I have this little sun. I'm holding off on it. I'm pretty sure that's where it's gonna go. On my title, I had this idea to split it up, and it may be a lot, but I like it. And it lets you see the waves up here. It doesn't overpower the picture. I did go ahead and keep all 4 phrases in, and I'm liking it. I found some sunglasses from the sticker sheet, and the Fun Starts Here is here. Remember, I've got 2 of these collections, so I've got 2 sticker sheets. I did this relaxed from right here, and she had a funny green reflection in her armpit from her float, and I was like, girl, let me help you out. Let me cover that up. And I fussy cut the flip-flops from this element strip, and I use these Tim Holtz recoil scissors. If you like to fussy cut, but don't have the best pair of scissors, these are amazing. Sometimes, like your hand seizes up, or mine does when I'm doing a lot of fussy cutting, and not since getting these. And I was really worried about being able to maneuver them because they're a different kind of handle, but I tested them right when I got them and was able to adapt to them, no issues at all. So I've got my little flip-flops, and I've got foam on all of this. I went back, to look at my sketch, and I was kind of trying to think about where could I stitch, because I love to stitch. And the sketch actually calls for stitching like here to here, and so I think I'm going to do that. And I'm considering these flip-flops to be one element. If they were a sticker, from the element sheet, then they would be together. And so I'm just like pretending that it's one and not two. And I grabbed this little bottle of sunscreen. Y'all, where's the sunscreen in all these collections? We need it. I had one bottle of sunscreen out of all like the 13 sticker sheets that I have pulled to look at. I'm going to go right down there with that. I think it was from A Perfect Summer, and I think this float also was. But I did find one little float. I have an Echo Park Sun-Kissed sticker book, and it had some floats in it, but they were circles, and I liked the design of this one to where, it actually looks like it's floating. So I hate to cover up my waves because they're so cute. I'm just going to go right there. Okay, this is another layout where I've kind of got 4 quadrants going, and the sketch had design up here with this bow. It had texture, and then the title, and then the journaling, and the fish. So it didn't really have a triangle. That's why I hesitated on the sun, like if I take that away. But see, I think it needs it. I think you need something up here. And I'm gonna just place it to where 2 of the rays are overlapping the journaling. And I don't know that it needs much more. I think what I'll do is I'll poke my holes and stitch, and then we'll evaluate, and we might be close to done. I have to say, I'm enjoying this little summer stash busting series, playing with these adorable paper lines. I like to go in themes, but usually my themes run along the lines of Christmas or travel or Disney, and I've never just kind of farmed summer to tell summer stories. And so that was enjoyable. So thanks to Julie for recommending an Echo Park stash bust. It's been fun so far. Okay, I'm gonna pause the recording, and I'm gonna poke my holes. Oh, just real quick, I'll show you in case you don't know. When I go to poke my holes, the first thing I do is I run a pencil line, and I'm always coming in to just that very first hash mark. So I'm going to put this very first hash mark on the edge of my paper, and you can come down to the end to make sure you're straight all the way up. And the sketch shows it going above a couple of stitches, and that's good. I've got a problem right here. I may just ignore that area. And it goes all the way down, all the way down, all the way down. And then I'll just rotate it, and this also goes off the edge. So I've got good placement as far as my swimsuits go. Then the next thing I'll do, I have this foam mat that, Basil years ago, they had an in stitches line, and it was spelled kind of whimsical. It wasn't spelled correctly. And like, I think stitches ended with a Z. And then this is the Basil piercing tool. And so I'll just poke, and I just go off muscle memory. And then when I'm done poking, I take this Faber-Castell art eraser, and it erases without leaving any little nubbins, and I love it. Okay, let me poke some holes. And just real quick, here's a shot of all of my holes poked and the pencil lines erased. And I've chosen navy. I had a hard time deciding, but I'm going with this. My stitching is done, and I think that navy was really the right call. I think it kind of grounds all of it. You remember I was talking about that May Flom class, and she said, always have some dark hues to ground your bright palettes. And I found in this sticker book, I bought at convention and was in my convention haul, this Sun-Kissed sticker book. such cute swimsuits, and I found these water splashes, and there's 3. I pulled 3 of them, and so that gives me 5 elements down here. I think it kind of grounds this cluster a little more. I know the color isn't exact, but I think with water, there's so many shades of it, I'm okay with it. And then I put one here, and that gives a 3rd element up there, gets me a little happier in that corner. And what I want to do now is add some of these little pink fresh clear droplets. And when I did the card event one year, they our little favor, our little gift was this heart-shaped dish to grab things in. So I thought that I would do some of it live because I like to showcase how great this tool is. It's the My Sweet Petunia Glue Precision Press. And now sometimes the glue will clog right here and you just have to pull it off. I've already done that. And I know I want to put a dot here. Corners like this kind of bother me. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to put some glue there. I love this polished gold brassy look. I'm going to grab the largest one and put that there. Oh, I love them. I think, I did that SCT class earlier this year, and I did that beach scene, and I used these little clear drops then because I think it emulates water. So easy. And so the beauty of the glue press is you don't have to clog and unclog the top. I can't tell you how much I enjoy these little bitty droplets. My standard is 3, 1 of each size. I'm pretty boring. But you know what? If it's not broke, don't fix it. I'm going to put 2 down. No, I'm just going to go ahead and be bold and commit. I'll do the 3rd one over there. And I'll do the larger one by itself. Makes more of a presence. Oh, yeah. Oh, and I had that cloud punch sitting on my desk from the last summer layout I did, and I grabbed it. I trimmed a little bit off here and tucked it flat under the sun, and I'm much happier about this little corner. I think it gives it something else. So I changed my title and I changed my journaling. I just kind of flipped them, and they call for a subtitle here. I ended up doing 2 title areas, and I added a cluster down here. So I think this is a wrap on this, and I have to say I'm enjoying these vibrant and fun summer collections. So drop me a note in the comments about what is your favorite summer collection, and do you have this summer party, and have you used it? Because, we can have something and not necessarily use it. I realize in this layout, I'm not repeating all of my colors in the clusters. Like up here, I've just got orange. Down here, I've got the yellow and the pink. I'm okay with that, to be honest. Mainly because I'm telling a story that doesn't come with a lot of matching accessories. So I think I got a fun water theme going, and I think it's perfect for this little weekend trip that they all had together. My 2 sons have always been super extra close to this cousin of theirs, and it goes back to when they were little. And Joanna did a stint in Thailand as a teacher. She taught English, and she would come home very infrequently. But every time she came home, she made a point to try and see the boys. They were in college at that point, and she always would get a picture of the 3 of them. So that's a story I need to tell at some point, is maybe just grab 3 or 4 of those and do a through the years of the 3 of them. So fun times. And that's going to be the end of this process video. Stay tuned for more Stash Bustin' Saturdays. I hope that you had some fun along with me. And if you're a subscriber, thanks so much for being a subscriber. And if you're not, please consider hitting that subscribe button. I'm working to get to 1,000 subscribers so I can turn off the mid-roll ads. And it would just be nice if we could have that uninterrupted scrappy time together. So as always, thanks for hanging out with me.
Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a thing. I'll be back soon with more layouts, videos, and a little stash busted magic. So please come back and crop with me. Until next time, happy scrapping, and remember, this is where paper meets story. Bye-bye.